Hello and welcome to another episode of Popular Biomechanics for Kids, where our sole purpose is to teach them young to prevent them from becoming one of the 99.9% of people who infest gyms and have no idea what the fuck they're doing. I'm your host, Ben Halsell, and today we're talking about rows. This is the Road to Grow as Fuck episode. So we'll do a quick review of the universal law of levers and take a look at the biomechanics of a row. Let's get started. As it relates to the law of levers, there's two variables you need to be aware of: the lever and the direction of resistance. When they're parallel to one another, that's an inactive position. When they're perpendicular to one another, that's when the muscles that pull on that bone have to do the most amount of work to overcome the resistance. So how does this apply to a row? Well, let's take a look at the diagram. Over here we have our RPCA, that's Rudy Poo Candy Ass. He represents the 99.9% of people who infest gyms and have no fucking clue what they're doing. And today it looks like he's doing a bent over row, but probably has no fucking clue why. So what lever is in motion? It's the upper arm bone. What muscle pulls on that bone? It's the lat. It's responsible for shoulder extension. So if you do a row and you keep your elbows tight to your body, you're probably trying to work your lat, whether you know it or not. If we come over to the extrapolation zone, we can ascertain the exact point that the direction of effort opposes the direction of resistance. And what we'll see, it's at the end range of motion. This will answer a few questions for us. Number one, what muscle is responsible for the direction of effort? It's the lats. And at what relative length are they when the effort opposes the resistance? They're in their shortest position. Other things you might want to be aware of: what could potentially become a limiting factor. Remember, the smallest muscle involved in a lift, or any muscle that does not have an opportunity to disengage, can easily become a limiting factor with the more work that you do. This should influence how you do what you do. As it relates to rows, it's the biceps, forearms, or lower back. That's what you got to watch out for. How will your body compensate? There's a few ways. You'll extend the hip, the elbows will flare, or the shoulders will round or remain forward. When you extend your hips and you stand more upright, what you're actually doing is preventing the lever from ever becoming perpendicular to the direction of resistance. Therefore, the muscles responsible for the direction of effort don't ever directly oppose the resistance, and they don't have to do as much work. You're actually making the exercise easier for yourself. It's a waste of time. Unless, of course, you're trying to target other areas like the traps, rhomboids, or rear delts. In that case, you might want to stand a little more upright. You might want your elbows to flare, and you might want your shoulders to not be fully retracted. Then again, maybe you do, because the muscle that's stretched the most is worked the most. And if you want to work the rhomboids, to stretch them, you're going to have to round your shoulders forward to some degree. But as it relates to the row, why will your elbows flare? Why will the shoulders remain forward? Because a muscle's capacity to produce force is at its highest when it's at or near its mid-range. It's at its lowest in its longest and shortest position. So as you're doing a row, if your elbows are flaring or you can't get your shoulders back, that's your body trying to tell you that your lats are not strong enough to pull that weight into that end range when the direction of effort opposes the direction of resistance. So it's going to try to keep the lat in a longer relative position so that it can't get into its weakest position. Therefore, rows only overload the lats in their shortest position. This is very, very important, because if you're going to include rows in your strategy, you're going to want to be aware of this. And this will also indicate what else you might want to include in your strategy. As it relates to the lats, you're going to want to include exercises that overload them at their mid-range and also in their fully longest position. That is, of course, if you're including rows in your strategy. And if you want your back to be as wide as fuck, like a barn door, you got a row to grow as fuck, as it says right there. If you like this information, feel free to share it, pass it forward. Let's teach as many people about biomechanics as we can to reduce the rate of people that have no fucking clue what they're doing in the gym. Let's bring that percentage down from 99.9. Let's get it down to 99 at least. You like this information for yourself? Click the fucking button at the bottom, subscribe to the channel, and I will keep bringing it.